Yes, I know I'm not wearing green. I'm sorry. My Eagles shirt, Eagles jersey is in the wash, so just gotta go with what I have. So, just deal with it for tonight, okay? What's up? What's happening? What's going on? Welcome back to the Animation Numbers, which is a great thing with the animation crew, two Super Saiyans that fight for the fate of the Earth. I'm getting better at that every time I do it, I swear. And today, welcome to the masterpiece that is Dragon Ball Super Broly. This review's already out way later than later usually anticipated because I've had stuff I wanted to do today. So, yep, this is going to be a much shorter review than I initially wanted it to be, but we're going to read the summary, voice acting, and then written review. I don't have time for facts this time, I'm sorry. So, please don't think that because this is a shorter review than Battle of Gods that I think it isn't on par with Battle of Gods. In fact, what I'm holding right now, if the thumbnail didn't already make that clear, is that I am holding what is, in my opinion, the third best movie of all time. Yes, of all time. I am not joking or pulling your leg. I have a lot to say, so let's just dive right in. So, let's start with our summary. King Cold watches Planet Vegeta through his scatter screen as his fleet approaches, attended closely by Berry Blue, Kikono, Zarbon, Dodoria, and the Ginyu Force, as well as many numerous other nameless soldiers. The Saiyans take notice as the ships enter the atmosphere. Guinea, yes, this is the first time we see Guinea in the actual anime. Guinea emerges from her house with a concerned expression. Cold's vanguard flies out of the mothership and advances to its landing, and the fleet takes no care avoiding structures as the ship flies up to the king's castle. And some structures are destroyed, which angers Beats. King Vegeta's Majordomo? I don't know. Enters the throne room to inform him that King Cold has come, but King Vegeta can see that for himself. The king seems displeased at his unexpected visit and nervous, while Paragus is seen shaking in fear as the ships fly past the windows of the throne room. The vanguard lands at the spaceport, followed by the mothership. Cold disembarks with his entourage, including his son Frieza. King Vegeta and his retinue go to meet them. Cold greets King Vegeta, who offers his hand in welcome, but Cold ignores it. He instead introduces the Saiyans to Frieza, and after a brief hesitation, the king welcomes Frieza and kneels before him. The other Saiyans follow suit, and Frieza acknowledges their greeting. Cold announces his retirement and the ascension of his young son, placing a fatherly hand on his shoulder, which Frieza clearly dislikes. Cold explains that Saiyans will serve Frieza as they have served him. The only thing that would change is that Frieza is a little cooler than he is. When Cold is done speaking, Frieza flicks the hand off his shoulder and laughs, introducing himself with condescension. Or condescension, whatever. He announces that he has high expectations for the Saiyans, causing the king to blanch. However, he has an inaugural gift for his new subjects, a number of devices called Scouters, which are a compact version of the scout scopes the Saiyans have been using previously, and they can be worn as headgear, and also function as communicators. As Frieza demonstrates the ability of these new Scouters to detect life forms and assess battle power, he notices snipers aiming for him from the battlements of the castle. He remarks that one of them has a battle power of 2,000, and then takes out all 4 mutineers before anyone knows what's going on. Frieza leaves them with 500 Scouters, the fleet departs, and King Vegeta is left crushing his Scouter in frustration. Because, you know, he's a king having to bow to someone else. Afterwards, King Vegeta checks on his son in his nursing capsule. He is proud of Prince Vegeta's potential and declares that his son will rule the universe instead of that monster Frieza. The king becomes angry, however, when he notices an unknown child in a nearby capsule. This nursery is supposed to be exclusive to the Saiyan elites. Shito tells the king that Broly is the son of Paragus. His power readings fluctuate, but his battle power is abnormally high, maybe even higher than that of Prince Vegeta. King Vegeta does not believe this, so he takes a device for reading battle power from the medic and places it against the tank. Broly starts crying because of how, hard King Vegeta's hand hits that pod, and the device explodes. Nyan is nearby taking notes and says that even discounting out Lear readings, Broly's battle power is quite high, and she speculates that Broly might be the legendary Super Saiyan. After hearing Nylon's words, King Vegeta's resolve hardens and decides his course of action. Soon later, Paragus runs and is half pushed into the throne room where he takes a knee, begging an audience with the king. He asks to know why Broly, his son, is being sent to a frontier world like a low-class Saiyan. King Vegeta tries to claim that it's a training mission for Broly to develop his extraordinary potential and cultivating plants for sale is what Saiyans do, isn't it? But Paragus points out that Vampa is just a planetoid with a harsh environment and no humanoid life forms. It wouldn't even be a good planet to sell. You know, because back then the Saiyans were businessmen under the rule of King Cold and now Frieza. So, yeah, that's how that plays into that sort of thing. King Vegeta confesses that he fears Broly's power might pose a danger to Planet Vegeta, and maybe even the whole universe. Paragus should be grateful that his son's life was even spared. Paragus suggests that the king is just jealous of Broly's power, which exceeds that of the prince. This gets under the king's skin, so he cruelly informs Paragus that Broly's pod has been already taken off. Paragus flies out in a panic, crashing through the stained glass window of the throne room and heads for the spaceport. Paragus sets his sights on a spaceship to steal and makes a beeline for it, pushing aside Beats the Saiyan that we met earlier, who follows after him in protest. Paragus wastes no time on him and takes off for planet Vampa with Beats in tow. As he pilots the ship through the atmosphere, he fills Beats in on the details of his plight and his mission. The king was jealous of Broly's power and removed him from his nursing capsule to send him to a desolate world. Paragus plans to retrieve Broly from planet Vampa and then serve out their exile on a more habitable planet, though Beats is free to return home. Paragus only sees one path forward for himself. He will train Broly's incredible power and get his revenge against the king. Which, I mean, makes sense, because it keeps that same vendetta from the non-canon movie. Like, it's keeping the elements of the non-canon Broly Legendary Super Saiyan movie, but it's changing them up slightly, for a little bit of variation. Not to mention, this one also makes a few changes to that backstory, because not only is it the first time we've seen, well, Beats is a brand new character, but it's the first time we've seen King Cold since the Android Saga. It's the first time we see him in a flashback in all of the Dragon Ball media with the whole Planet Vegeta scenes. And it's, of course, the first appearance of Gine, Goku's mother. So, not to mention, Bardock is also pretty different in this one as well, which has gotten some fans in an uproar, but in my opinion, it's an okay update. It doesn't really bother me all that much. I kind of like this more mellowed out, caring Bardock, rather than... I mean, I'm always going to love the grizzled badass we got in the old Z. I'm always going to love that, but I don't mind them making changes, as long as it doesn't, like, completely destroy the story. Paragus and Beats approach planet Vampa, which is actually a planetoid almost as small as an asteroid. Paragus ignores cautions from Beats and heads straight for where Broly should have landed 2 days previously. This results in a crash landing, but they survive unharmed. Paragus dons some kind of mask, and they begin to search for Broly using one of the old scout scopes. Soon they hear a noise approaching. A group of Vampa beetles is approaching. One of them attacks Paragus, but manages to get free. He tries attacking the creature, but his attacks just bounce off his shell. I.e., he takes the laser gun he has and tries to shoot the thing. And it's as ineffective as you think it is. They manage to take shelter in a cave where Beats tearfully informs Paragus that he's not even a fighter. He's like, I shouldn't be out here. I'm not a soldier, damn it! Like, there's some funny lines in this movie, if you're paying attention. They stay in the cave until sunrise, where they resume their search for Broly. Beats notices that planet Vampa has a moon, and that it is just short of being full. Beats has never transformed into an Ozaru before, so Paragus advises him to avoid looking at it. Which, I mean, makes sense. During their search, they enter one of the planet's craters, which appears to be filled with a soft, grassy surface. Soon the crater is surrounded with the giant ticks. They penetrate the grass with long, barbed appendages extending from their mouths and start sucking up something underneath the surface. Suddenly there's an earthquake. Paragus and Beats take to the air as the grassy fields take shape and an open mouth emerges from the surface, extending into a gigantic snake-like creature with the face of an attack dog, which Broly later names Ba. It begins attacking the Vampa beetles and eating them, causing Paragus to realize how the food chain works on this planet. The Vampa beetles suck the blood out of the beasts, and the beasts eat the beetles. They distance themselves from the scene, and then Beats spots Broly's pod in the distance. The pod seems to have been ruined in a crash landing, but Broly's not in there. Paragus uses a scope to search, and they eventually find Broly inside a cave that seems to serve as a nest for the Vampa beetles. It is full of what looks like their eggs and the corpses of several adult creatures. Broly soon emerges from one of the adults' claws, a piece of a sucker tongue in his hand. I'm just reading what it says. Paragus tells Broly how happy he is to see him, but Broly seems weary. Beats uses the scout scope to gauge Broly's battle power, which is 920, higher than his own. But Paragus believes that 920 would not be high enough to combat the Vampa beetles. He notices that Broly's armor is a little loose on his body and realizes that Broly must have transformed into an Ozaru, or Great Ape if you're watching the dub, the night before when the moon was full. They return to their ship to escape the planet, but it turns out the ship's main floater was damaged in their crash landing. They are stranded on planet Vampa. They are too far away to call for help and only have enough food and water for 10 days. Beats doubts anyone will find them so quickly. Paragus agrees and shoots Beats with a ray gun to preserve their rations. And more than likely ends up eating him just to survive. For, just surviving in general for cannibalism. 5 years later, Bardock is returning from battle to planet Vegeta. Frieza has ordered all the Saiyans to return home. Leak, his comrade, because unfortunately Bardock's squad isn't in this one. That's one thing I do think is a big loss, because those were great, fun characters. Leak wakes him from sleep to let him know they are about to arrive. Leak expresses his curiosity about Frieza's order, and Bardock tells him to take off his scouter, because someone might be listening. Frieza's spaceship is already in the planet's orbit, but it will be some time before all the Saiyans return to the planet. Bardock is suspicious about this order. If Frieza wanted to send them an important message, he could have just done it wirelessly. Even if he wanted to give them some kind of new measuring device, there would be no need to rush all the Saiyans back to the home planet. Cole and Frieza always have found the Saiyans to be a useful tool, but Bardock wonders whether Frieza has decided he doesn't need them anymore. They enter the atmosphere with dozens of other ships and land in Bardock's village and disembark. The village is bustling with activity and cars pulling space pods are passing through. Leak wants to look on the bright side, but Bardock thinks he's being foolish. Taro calls out to Bardock, speculating that Frieza has identified a valuable planet that will require all the Saiyans to purge, and Leak is happy to latch onto this explanation. Taro then mentions that Frieza has been asking around about the legendary Super Saiyan, which makes Bardock even more suspicious. On Frieza's ship, Kikono is telling Frieza that the legends of the Super Saiyan and the Super Saiyan God are just that. Legends. Oh, how wrong he would be. Frieza agrees, but he doesn't want to take any chances, and this is the perfect opportunity to wipe all the Saiyans out once and for all. Bardock arrives at his house and finds Gine working in the butcher shop. She is happy to see him. Bardock asks about Raditz, and Gine says he is away on a mission with Prince Vegeta. Makes sense. And he also asks if Kakarot is still in the nursing capsule. Gine says it's almost time to take him out and asks if Bardock wants to see him. They enter the room with his nursing capsule. Bardock observes that he's still small, and Gine says he's a late bloomer, but he looks just like Bardock, especially his hair. Bardock's expression becomes grave, and he tells Gine that as soon as night falls, they should steal a space pod and send Kakarot to another planet. Gine protests, but then Bardock explains his suspicions about Frieza. Since Kakarot's potential is low, he would have been sent off-world either way, so they should send him now before Frieza makes his move. Frieza has been asking about the legend of the Super Saiyan, and Bardock thinks that he's scared. When night falls, Bardock steals a pod and puts Kakarot inside, and Gine follows as he carries it out into the Badlands outside the village. Badlands, not Bandlands, I'm sorry. Gine thinks they should all try to escape together, but Bardock tells her they would just be detected by the damn scouters if they tried it. Kakarot is the only one they can save. Bardock has programmed the pod's destination for a planet called Earth, far enough away to escape Frieza's interest, with a native population weak enough to pose no threat to him. They set the pod down and Kakarot cries. Bardock then states that if he is wrong about Frieza, they can always go to Earth later and bring him home. They resolve themselves to their decision. Bardock tells Kakarot to survive no matter what, and they say goodbye to their son. Bardock touches the glass of the pod's window, and Kakarot places his hand against the glass too. The pod takes off, and Gine calls out to her son, telling him not to forget them, and breaks down in tears. Bardock comforts her as they watch him hurtle through space. Yeah, this is a direct homage to Superman. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's pretty much the Superman story. But what's even more sad here is that Gine tells Kakarot not to forget her. And what happens? Well, he hits his head on a rock, and he forgets pretty much everything, so he forgets his father, and he especially forgets his mother, which is heartbreaking, because you can see how much his mother clearly loved and cared for him. So it's a heartbreaking scene. Honestly, I think it adds a lot more emotion to what happens later on, which, I mean, we all know what's going to happen. Frieza blows up Planet Vegeta, but point is, it adds extra sorrow and emotion to that moment. So, yeah, that part's nice. It's a really beautiful, touching scene. In my opinion. I know a lot of people love to just complain. On Frieza's ship, Kikono warns Frieza that destroying the Saiyans will reduce their forces by nearly half, but Frieza isn't too worried about that. He knows the Saiyans will turn on him the first chance they get. I mean, he's not wrong. He decides it's time, and hatch opens and Frieza floats out in his hover throne, wasting no time launching the attack to destroy the planet. The Saiyans notice the sky turning bright red. Gine looks up from her work in the butcher shop, and Leek stares in shock as the supernova, or death ball, whatever, approaches. His armor having been heavily damaged after fighting several of Frieza's minions, Bardock alone launches a final spear can to stop Frieza's attack. But inexorably, Frieza's attack overwhelms his own, his armor burns off as he is killed and the planet is destroyed. So yeah, that whole thing with Bardock, fighting against Frieza, that's still canon. They didn't change that. They just changed a few little things. And you know what? I'm not going to complain. I think the changes are fine. Frieza joyfully proclaims that he feels like a weight has been lifted as the life signs on his scouter screen dwindle all the way down to 0. Somewhere out in space, Vegeta is on a mission with Raditz, Nappa, and 2 other adult Saiyans that we never get the name of. One Saiyan informs the others that Planet Vegeta has been destroyed by a meteor. They are shocked and they rush to inform the prince. Raditz says they were lucky to be spared, but Vegeta muses that he will never be King Vegeta now. Again, explaining why his character keeps calling himself a prince and not a king. Nappa asks Vegeta about his brother, but Vegeta doesn't care about him. Reference to Tarble, because he's also still canon. The other adult Saiyan asks Raditz about Kakarot, and Raditz says that Kakarot doesn't matter because he is a weakling. But his mother had earlier relayed the message that Kakarot had been sent off-world. Prince Vegeta looks towards the sky and laughs. Back on planet Vampa, Broly is eating a Vampa beetle from a giant eggshell, and he looks towards the sky as Kakarot's space pod passes by, and the pod makes its way towards Earth. And then we get an amazing transition. It's not going to talk about it in this, but I'm going to talk about it. They do an amazing transition showing a bunch of scenes from the original Dragon Ball all the way up to the end of Z very well. Well, all the way up to the end of Super. Very, very well. They do a great job. There's a bunch of references in there. And I especially love what they did with Goku and Vegeta. They start with, those iconic poses from the Saiyan saga. And then it slowly revolves to all the way to current day where they're training over an ocean. That is a beautiful transition. And I gotta go about this for a little bit. The animation in this movie is absolutely just indescribably amazing. They literally came up with a whole new art style just for this movie. Really taking a bunch of risks because, you had the Z style, you had the styles from Battle of Gods and Resurrection F, and of course you had the styles from later on Super. But instead, they decide to throw that all out the window and try something completely different and completely new. And I personally think it is amazing. Wow, it is a beautiful, gorgeous art style. It is gorgeous, it is amazing. And most of the battle scenes in here are 2D animated as well. It's very impressive. Old school, classic, almost, what's the word I'm thinking of? Miyazaki. Classic Miyazaki kind of style. And it's absolutely gorgeous. So, yeah, the animation in this movie is a 12 out of 10 all on its own. The animation is amazing. Probably the best animation that Dragon Ball has ever had. Yes, that includes Battle of Gods and the Universe 6 saga. Not Universe 6, the Universal Survival Saga. It is some of the most gorgeous, amazing animation you will ever see in your life. Sorry, I just had to stop and praise it, because it is gorgeous. Amazing animation. In the present day, Goku and Vegeta are sparring near Bulma's summer home on an island far to the south of West City. Bulma is watching from a distance with Bola because, well, we'll explain more when we get to Universal Survival Saga, but she has a second baby. She gets pregnant right at the start of the Survival Saga, and then Whis helps her give birth to Bola, her little daughter, so Vegeta can participate in the tournament. Whis is getting all worked up over some food, fits his character, and Beerus is trying to take a nap, fits his character. Bulma remarks that the island is otherwise uninhabited, so Goku and Vegeta don't have to worry about collateral damage, but Beerus gets angry when they wake him from his nap with their noise. So they take a break to join the others for food. Whis asks Goku why he is seeking even greater strength, and Goku explains that it's just because he met incredible guys from other universes at the Tournament of Power. Whis then poses the same question to Vegeta, whose motivation is the imminent danger of Frieza. Goku tells Vegeta there's nothing to worry about. Frieza helped them win the tournament after all. Vegeta says they shouldn't expect Frieza to be grateful he was resurrected. Now that they understand Frieza's potential for growth, Vegeta doesn't want to risk the possibility that Frieza might get even stronger and pose a real threat to them. Bickering ensues when Vegeta tells Goku he's too stupid to grasp reality. I mean, he's not entirely wrong, because if you read the manga, I mean, there's Black Frieza now, which is just as strong as Ultra Instinct, so... I mean, Vegeta wasn't wrong to be fearful of that. And Goku is being Goku. And again, these two bicker back and forth like an old married couple, and it's still some of the funniest back and forth you will ever see in animation. It is so friggin' funny. Bulma receives a call on her wristwatch from Trunks, who informs her that the 6 Dragon Balls that Bulma had collected in her lab had been stolen. Trunks sends the surveillance footage through the watch, which reveals that the thieves were wearing Frieza's armor. The adults instantly recognize what's going on, but none of them say anything until Bulma ends the call with Trunks. Smart enough. Vegeta thinks that Frieza must have sent grunts so that no one would sense them. Goku wonders what Frieza would wish for, since he can't wish anything beyond Shenron's power. Vegeta thinks it's obvious. Frieza would wish for immortality. Everyone agrees that Frieza must be stopped, whatever his wish is. It won't be good. Fortunately, Bulma always has a spare Dragon Radar, and she already knows where to find the last ball. It's on the Ice Continent, and she saved it for last because it's so cold, and she's not a fan. Frieza's goons are surely already en route, so Goku and Vegeta agreed to travel with her to go stop them. Whis wants to go with them, but Beerus wants to stay where the food is, and because he wants to keep napping. So Bulma happily saddles him with babysitting Bola as they take off, and then Beerus yells after them, I'm a destroyer god, not a babysitter! As they fly to their destination, Goku asks Bulma why she wants to collect the Dragon Balls. After some prodding, Bulma admits that she wants to become 5 years younger, and Goku can't believe she would waste such a wish on something so trivial. Whis proceeds to ask why only 5 years, with Bulma responding that anything more would be too noticeable. And then Goku figures out that Bulma has been using the Dragon Balls for that for years. And then, well, she turns the ship a certain way, so all the luggage smacks him on the head. What's great about this, though, is the way it plays into Frieza's wish for this story, and the way it also calls back to a classic scene from the Namek Saga. Let's talk about it. Meanwhile, on Frieza's ship, Kokono relays the news that the 6 Dragon Balls collected by Vegeta's wife have been secured, along with the Dragon Radar, which they are using to find the last one. This pleases Frieza, but he thinks they should wait until all 7 are secured before heading to Earth. The Earth Saiyans don't need scouters to sense their presence. I mean, that's smart. I'll give him that. Kokono wants to know whether Frieza will wish for immortality, as he has always wanted, but Frieza's experience in Hell taught him that immortality is not all it's cracked up to be, especially when a person couldn't do anything. Kokono suggests he wish for invincibility instead, but Frieza thinks that would be boring. Berry Blue hits the mark when she guesses that he wishes to be taller. Frieza's reaction confirms it, and Kokono can't believe it, but Berry Blue has witnessed Frieza's ruthlessness with people who disparage his stature and warns Kokono to be careful. Frieza swears them to secrecy and admits that he wants to wish to be 5 centimeters taller. See, 5 years younger and 5 centimeters taller. And the way he does the hand thing, that's exactly the way that he put his hand up to say that 5 minutes until Planet Namek explodes in the Namek Saga. Literally the exact same way he does the hand. Literally the exact same way. And it's hilarious. Kikono then asks why Frieza doesn't just use his taller second form, but Frieza insistently wants to be taller in his true form, and of course his golden one. Kokoro finally asks why only 5 centimeters, with Frieza responding that anything more would be too noticeable. Don't you understand? Like, the way that plays into not only the plot, but the way it reflects off of Bulma's wish, too. Like, it's funny. And then add in the reference to the Namek Saga, it's really funny. So, yeah, this movie's very referential. Somewhere out in space, Chilai and Lemo have been searching for strong people to recruit into the Frieza Force. Chilai is frustrated with their mission, but Lemo reminds her that they were ordered to find as many warriors as possible in order to strengthen Frieza's depleted forces. Chilai doesn't understand as she thought the army was big enough, but Lemo heard that a large portion of their army was killed by Frieza himself, because they weren't fighting hard enough in his opinion. Lemo then asks why Chilai joined. She admits that she stole a ship from the Galactic Patrol. Whoops. So she hoped that the Frieza's army would offer her some protection. She asks Lemo if he has ever met Frieza, but since Lemo is a non-combatant, he has only ever seen Frieza once. Chilai has heard that Frieza is really short, and Lemo warns her never to repeat that if she values her life. As they pass by planet Vampa, they intercept a distress signal from an older model ship. Hoping to get a bonus, they make landing and investigate the old wreckage. Paragus sees the ship and runs out from a nearby cave to go meet them, visibly way older than before. He asks if they are with Frieza's army. Lemo spots the tail and recognizes that Paragus is a Saiyan, but Chilai doesn't seem to know what that is. Paragus introduces himself and explains that he has been stranded here ever since he crash-landed on the planet. Chilai reads his battle power at 4200, which is a lot higher than she expected for such an old man. That's fair. As they express their amazement, a Vampa beetle approaches, but Paragus yells for Broly, who drops the claw he was munching on, swoops in at supersonic speed, taking care of the creature with a single kick. Because he's Broly. Chilai is awed by his performance and tries to read his battle power, but her scouter just blanks out as Paragus introduces Broly to them on the scouter screen. Chilai tells Lemo about her issue with the scouter, so he tries to get a reading, but he doesn't have any luck either. They can't believe their good fortune, and they hasten to deliver this magnificent specimen to Frieza. When they arrive on Frieza's ship, Berry Blue goes to inform Frieza of their arrival, which catches his interest right away. He can't believe there are still other Saiyans out there, because, he thought he killed them all. Frieza asks what happened to Broly's tail. Paragus explains that he removed it because Broly could not control himself when he transformed and that he was too dangerous. A callback to the many times that Goku had to have his tail cut off in the original Dragon Ball. Frieza wants to know if he otherwise has problems with the control, but Paragus insists it's only rarely. Frieza counters that rarely is not never, so Paragus tells Frieza about Broly's collar, a device of his own invention. When Broly loses control, he uses the remote control he keeps in his belt to electrocute Broly into submission. In other words, he treats him like a dog and he has a shock collar around his neck. Yeah. If that doesn't tell you how despicable and evil of a person Paragus is, I don't know what will. Broly becomes visibly unnerved when Paragus takes out the remote to show it to Frieza and starts gripping his collar in fear as if trying to remove it, which Lemo and Chilai notice to their horror. Frieza asks about Broly's name, but Broly just blinks and looks away. Paragus hastens to answer on his behalf, but Frieza can tell that Broly's hiding a lot of power, and Paragus insists that they are at his disposal. But Frieza is already turning away from him. He laughs and says he is sure they will serve him well. He instructs Berry Blue to reward the hunters, so she presents Chilai and Lemo with a bounty in the form of intergalactic currency called credits, which take the form of pillow-shaped pieces of some kind of metal. Yeah, they're weird. The currency is very weird. They thank him profusely and leave. Frieza tells Paragus about the demise of Planet Vegeta. Paragus says he's heard all about it on the way to the ship, and he is sorely disappointed that his dream of revenge was stolen from him. Frieza has good news, though. Prince Vegeta is still alive. Paragus cannot believe his luck. Frieza's happy to help him get his revenge, and he instructs Berry Blue to show Paragus and Broly to the showers and get them some new uniforms. When he is alone, he muses aloud that he won't even have to get his hands dirty this time. Broly has traded his raggedy armor from Beats for fancy new armor, and Paragus has traded his old armor for a new set as well. Chilai and Lemmo invite them both to join them at their table. Broly is only wearing the undersuit of the armor, with the pelt tied over it, and Chilai asks him why he didn't put on the armor jacket. Broly thought it would hinder his movements and wouldn't fit, but Chilai stretches her armor bra to show that it's actually quite comfortable. And also to get some inappropriate teenage boys interested. Because, it's anime. Gotta throw one of them in there. She asks them why he doesn't take off his pelt, which might get stinky, but Broly gets angry when she touches it, drawing the attention of everyone else in the hall. Chilai apologizes, touching it again softly, realizing that it must have some kind of meaning to him. He begins to tell her the story of why it means so much, but Paragus stops him and tells him that they are here to eat, not speak. Chilai protests, but Paragus brushes her off. She tries to push it, but Lemmo encourages her to drop it. In her defense, Paragus is being an a-hole, so... she's not in the wrong. Just then, Daigen comes up and tries to put the moves on Chilai, suggesting she would have more fun with him than these other guys, and he's clearly drunk. Paragus keeps his eye on him, and Broly's eyes narrow in suspicion and irritation. Chilai tries to blow him off, but he is stubborn, so Lemmo offers to pay for his meal, hoping to send him on his way. Daigen punches Lemmo out of the way. Well, he doesn't really punch him, he more just pushes him with his palm, but whatever. And this crosses a line for Broly. His hair flares up a bit again, and he visibly gets his anger under control, deliberately walking up to Daigen and ignoring his father's command to stand down. Daigen punches Broly in the chest several times, but Broly doesn't even flinch. He grabs Daigen by the neck and lifts him off the ground while Paragus tries and fails to get his attention. Broly squeezes harder, clearly threatening to kill Daigen. It's his own fault for being an idiot. But then Paragus resorts to the collar, and Broly screams under the assault of the electrocution. It's a pretty horrifying scene. Chilai and Lemmo run to his side, but once they verify that he is okay, Chilai steps up to confront Paragus. He explains to her patiently that this is necessary, but while he is talking, she stealthily pilfers the remote from his belt. He remarks that she didn't share his opinions and told her to stay away from his son. Berry Blue enters the mess hall to summon Paragus to see Frieza once again. Paragus calls for Broly, but Berry Blue says Frieza only wants to see him. As soon as Paragus leaves, with the keep calm and shut up, because he's an a-hole, Lemmo remarks that Paragus might be even worse than his own father, and Chilai laughs. Pleased with herself, she shows Broly the remote she pilfered. Broly and Lemmo are amazed that she stole it. She drops it to the ground and crushes it with her foot, thankfully ending the whole electrocution collar thing. They take Broly to the living quarters, where he gobbles more snack bars. Broly then tells them the story of his pelt. He says it's the ear of his first and only friend, Ba. Ba is one of the Vampa beasts that lives in the craters of Vampa. Chilai and Lemmo never saw one, so Broly explains that they are bigger even than this ship. When he was a child, part of his training was learning to dodge his attacks from Ba, named after the sound he made when he attacked. Eventually, Ba came to see him as a friend and no longer attacked him. Paragus was, however, unhappy with this development as it interfered with Broly's training, so he shot Ba in the head with a gun, taking off his ear. Ba never trusted Broly again, so Broly resolved to start wearing Ba's ear so that they could always be together. It's a story of tragic friendship, and it's pretty effective, I'll tell you that. Pretty friggin' effective. Chilai jumps down, telling Broly that she didn't expect him to have so much to say. Lemmo thinks Broly is a truly pure being. They ask him whether he even likes fighting, or if Paragus is just using him for revenge. Chilai thinks Broly should ditch him, but Broly will not speak ill of his father. Chilai and Lemmo sigh in defeat as Broly grips Ba's ear. Meanwhile, on the Arctic continent on Earth, Frieza's goons have finally found the last Dragon Ball, though they are having difficulties. Frieza tells Paragus that Vegeta is living on Earth along with another Saiyan. He thinks Paragus should show off Broly to them, and Paragus is more than happy to do so. But Frieza tells him that while he is welcome to take out his revenge on Vegeta, Frieza wants to finish off Goku personally for his own revenge, which he has dreamed of for a very long time. Paragus is taken aback by Frieza's favor, but he doesn't even know who who Goku is, so he bows and agrees to Frieza's wishes. Just then, Kikono runs in and excitedly informs Frieza that the last Dragon Ball has been found. Frieza rejoices and his ship heads to Earth at full speed. Now we start getting towards the fights. And yeah, this is already over half an hour. This is a very long, very lengthy, very in-depth summary, because this is a very intricate and complex story. Arguably even more complex than Battle of Gods. So, yeah. Bulma and the crew have finally reached the Arctic. Bulma spots Frieza's goons and they make a landing. Goku is cold, but he still jumps out of the ship excited. Bulma and the Saiyans are all bundled up in warm clothing. I especially love the little coats that Goku and Vegeta wear. Goku wears blue and Vegeta wears green, and I don't know, it just looks really cool. I like the look. Bulma can't believe Whis doesn't need any, but he tells her it's a lot colder out in space. I mean, that's fair. Frieza's goons are watching them from their own ship. They recognize Goku and Vegeta as Saiyans and hop in their ship to hightail it out of there. But Goku and Vegeta look up and take it out effortlessly, and Vegeta just calmly and effortlessly just shoots them down without any respect. They go to the enemy ship and Vegeta picks it up with one hand while Goku jumps on top, slapping his hands on the glass and telling them to give up the Dragon Balls. Goku senses something approaching and looks up. Vegeta, still holding the thieves' ship, looks up unknowingly too. But I want to talk about this funny little scene real quick. He's like, "The jig's up, guys! Now give it up and give us back our Dragon Ball!" Like, he gives this most hilarious look. And the Frieza's soldier's response is like, "If we don't give it back, we're goners. Just look at that death stare." It's too funny. Where are we? Goku senses something approaching and looks up. Vegeta, when the thief's ship, looks up too knowingly as well. Frieza has arrived as he floats out of the hatch of his ship in a callback to the destruction of planet Vegeta, and drops a petite supernova into the atmosphere and makes a dramatic entrance, clearing away all the clouds. Vegeta and Goku senses that there is another powerful warrior aboard, but he doesn't know who it could be. They watch wearily as Frieza and crew disembark, and as Broly steps off the ship, a wave of power seems to emanate from them, throwing up a wind that causes Goku and Vegeta to shield themselves. Once everyone has exited the ship, Vegeta recognizes that Paragus and Broly are both Saiyans, and Paragus shakes when he recognizes Vegeta based on his resemblance to his father. I mean, they have the same hair. Goku asks Frieza what's going on, and Frieza says he's just here for the Dragon Balls, which he calls to him via telekinesis as his goons stumble after them, falling onto the snow. Chilai and Lemo are watching from the ship, wondering what those balls are, because, they're not affiliated with the whole thing yet. Bulma yells at Goku and Vegeta, telling them to go get the Dragon Balls back, but Whis tells her that it's too late for that now, as this has become a warrior race party, much to his delight. Goku again demands to know what Frieza's up to, so Frieza explains. These are his companions, Broly and his father. They are Saiyans, though Frieza is sure they have already figured that out. Paragus comes forward and introduces himself by name. Frieza goes on. When Vegeta was still a child, his father exiled Broly to an inhospitable planet where he and his father were stranded until Frieza found and rescued them. Paragus declares that he has come to avenge the sins of the father upon the son, but Vegeta doesn't care about that. Goku says it doesn't matter anyway since they're all Saiyans, so they should just try to get along. I mean, makes sense. Meanwhile, Broly's anger is noticeably bubbling up and he obviously needs to let it out. Paragus gets Frieza's attention and Frieza decides it's time to begin. Paragus tells Broly to attack and Broly charges, going straight for Vegeta, who blocks his attack with a smile. And we get to our first fight of the movie. Yes, we had to wait this long for a fight, I know, but trust me, it's worth it. This is arguably the greatest final battle in the entire franchise, because it just escalates and escalates and escalates and escalates. They trade blows with Vegeta completely at ease in his winter jacket for a few moments, but it doesn't take long before Vegeta feels pressured enough to rip off his coat, saying that Broly's not bad and this might be a pretty good warm-up. Being Vegeta. Paragus observes to Frieza that Vegeta must have been training hard all these years, and Frieza confirms that Vegeta is no stranger to battle. On the other hand, since Broly grew up on an uninhabited planet, this must be his first real fight with another person. Paragus corrects him as he has fought Broly many times, but Frieza thinks Paragus is too weak to count. That's fair. Vegeta and Broly's battle continues to be intense, and Paragus cheers Broly from the sidelines. Before long, Vegeta decides it's time to transform and become Super Saiyan. And the Super Saiyan transformation is absolutely beautiful, by the way. I can't really talk a lot about it because this is already being a very long video, but it's a beautiful transformation. Look it up on YouTube. Broly is shocked and does not know what to make of this. Paragus also questions this, and Frieza is surprised he has never seen a Super Saiyan before. Paragus can't believe he's looking at it, thinking it's still nothing more than a myth. Vegeta's transformation just makes Broly even angrier. He charges at Vegeta, but finds himself once again at a major disadvantage in strength and speed, as Vegeta fights with the confidence of someone who is leagues away from his maximum battle power. But soon enough, Broly tanks a solid punch to the face, pushing back defiantly against Vegeta's fist. His eyes turn yellow, and Vegeta soon finds out that Broly's gotten stronger yet again to keep up with him as a Super Saiyan. Or in his words, he's learning as he fights, which, I mean, that's already pretty crazy. Putting him on the defensive again. Even Goku can't believe it, but Vegeta doesn't let it go on for long. He seeks the calm of Divine Ki as he retreats upward, transforming into a Super Saiyan God. And this is the first time we see Super Saiyan God in anything animated in terms of Vegeta. And it is freaking awesome. Well, I don't think it's as great as it is in the manga, with the boots and the gloves looking much bigger, since his arms and legs are shorter and a lot more slim, just like Goku's Super Saiyan God transformation was. It's still a beautiful form, and it's amazing to see it in all its glory. Not to mention, those of you that may have seen that first video and saw that Super Saiyan God Vegeta statue, this is the scene where that comes from. Vegeta is in control again and doesn't waste time letting Broly know. Broly's fearful at first, desperately dodging Vegeta's attacks. He tries repeatedly to land a punch, but Vegeta dodges him effortlessly until he finally catches a punch with a fist, carefully pushing it aside and punching Broly in the face, sending him flying through several mountains. Paragus falls to his knees, thinking Broly has reached the end of his power. Frieza suggests that they give up for now and retreat to the ship with the Dragon Balls. Paragus gets up and calls for Broly, trying to coax him to stand down, but Broly is buried in a distant mountain and isn't listening, instead seeming to undergo some sort of eternal struggle for control over his anger. Paragus reaches for the remote in his belt pouch, and finally discovering that it is missing. He falls to his knees yet again and calls out desperately for Broly to retreat, but Broly is trying and failing to keep the beast within him contained. Vegeta aims a God Heat Flash to finish Broly off. Goku desperately shouts at Vegeta not to do it, but Vegeta ignores him, blasting Broly into a frozen lake, which melts around him as he's plunged downwards in the depths, where Broly awakens his wrath state, turning the lake into a giant maelstrom as he rises in a golden glow and screams in fury. Once again, the force of his ki sends a gale outwards, causing the nearby Goku and Vegeta to block instantly. Vegeta seems to realize this fight could go on long, and he asks Goku if there's any senzu beans, but Goku completely forgot to get some. Wrath Broly fires a mouth beam directly at Goku, who barely dodges as the blast takes off the top of the mountain behind them before exploding in the sky, bathing everything in a green light. Vegeta seems to have barely dodged it too, but he gathers himself and attacks, landing a punch directly on Broly's face, but Broly takes a head-on with no sign of damage. Wrath's state is crazy. It's pretty much the power of an Ozaru, but he's remaining, containing his speed and agility by keeping in his human form. Broly then punches Vegeta and sends him flying skywards. Goku begins to worry, and Vegeta's beginning to feel pressured. Frieza's in good spirits again, asking Paragus what is happening, and Paragus theorizes that Broly has gained the ability to control the power of the Ozaru in human form, without any of the associated disadvantage of the bulky transformation. There is, however, a downside. Nothing can be done to control Broly now. He's now lost all sense of who he is and what he is. Now Vegeta's getting punched through mountains of his own. He lands gracefully enough, but he's feeling harried. He hasn't reached his maximum power yet, but Broly's about to power up again, and Goku doesn't want to wait. He takes off his coat and tells Broly it's now his turn to fight. Goku's interruption angers Broly, so Goku starts warming up as Broly powers up. They trade a few blows, and then Goku fires a Kamehameha blaster, but Broly isn't phased. He punches Goku deep into a mountain and follows him down the hole, which is done in first person from Broly's perspective, by the way. They get really creative with the camera work. Broly attacks Goku, who isn't really keeping up and hasn't been since the fight started, so he decides to go Super Saiyan. He's still outmatched, but he manages to get one-up on Broly by teleporting behind him and catching him by surprise. You know, because he has instant transmission. This advantage doesn't last long, though. Broly quickly reasserts the upper hand, knocking Goku into a mountain once again. Goku hasn't given up yet, and then Broly screams in anger, attacks, and before he can land a hit, Goku transforms into a Super Saiyan God. And I need to talk about this reference for a little bit. Yes, I know it's a long video, and I'm sorry, but I need to talk about this. Though his transformation to God is an homage to Supersonic. Like, there's no question about it. The way his eye goes red before his hair does. His hair is still yellow and his eye is red for a brief split second. It is a direct homage to Supersonic. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That is a Supersonic reference. Pretty much showing that, you know, game recognizes game. Finally, Goku seems to be holding his own and Broly's getting angry again. He does a move with his hands to paralyze Broly long enough to try to talk some sense into him. He tells Broly that he and Vegeta are living peacefully on Earth, and then Broly ranges and tries to punch Goku, but he can't. Goku can see that they have had a lot of battles over the years, and we get another nice really quick flashback with all the previous villains in the franchise up to that point. It's an amazing scene. Broly rages again, but Goku tells him that he knows he's not a bad guy, and it seems like Goku might be getting through to him. Goku adds that he shouldn't let bad people boss him around. On the sidelines, Kakaroto seems to panic, thinking Broly might switch. Paragus looks worriedly at Frieza, but Frieza just laughs, and sure enough, Broly gets angry enough to finally break Goku's hold on him. Broly pulls back for a massive punch, and Goku is barely able to take it, and Broly uses the same paralyzed technique on Goku, so he can land that punch to the face. With some effort, he grabs Broly by the wrist and slams him on the ground with enough force to cause an earthquake. Bulma's perch is threatened and Vegeta has to catch her. The plateau where Frieza's ship is parked begins to collapse, and Kakaroto calls out to Frieza and asks for permission to take the ship to safety. Frieza concedes and sends the Dragon Balls up. While Broly rages, Kakaroto, Lemon, and Chilai hold on to the Dragon Balls as the ship takes off. Frieza tells Paragus that now they can watch Broly's show without any worries. You know, aside from the Earth being destroyed. Broly goes even deeper to draw out more power as he seems to grow even larger. You know, starting to look like Z Broly with the bigger, buffer muscles. Broly goes even... Yeah, sorry, I already said that. And while Goku is landing attacks, he isn't really getting anywhere. Watching from above, Chilai is overwhelmed by Broly's power. Lemon thinks Broly isn't himself, though, and Chilai has to agree. Goku continues to struggle, and Chilai laments that this is only happening because the gentle-hearted Broly is a slave to his father's obsessive drive for revenge. Broly continues to rage, and Paragus begins to fear that Broly will kill him, and that it will be all over. Well, in the English dub, it's more, if he keeps going, Broly will be killed, but whatever. Meanwhile, Broly has grown so large that he dwarfs Goku, and he is fully in control of the fight. Furiously trying to stomp Goku into the ground, but Goku desperately rolls away. Goku manages to get back on his feet and attempts to attack Broly with an energy spear, only to have his attack effortlessly crushed in Broly's hand. Broly then turns the table on Goku, grabbing him by the ankle and slamming him against the ground constantly. Yeah, that's a direct homage to Hulk. Like, Goku gets the Loki treatment. It's as both awesome and brutal and also hilarious as you're expecting it to be. It is a direct homage to Loki's brutal beating at the hands of Hulk in Avengers 2012. Like, that's exactly what it is. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is a direct reference. Not to mention, I mean, people have already called Broly DBZ's Hulk, so it makes a lot of sense. Then he grabs him by the face and slams him through an ice wall. Goku is grounded and can't move while Broly screams in unbridled rage. It looks like Goku is done for, and Frieza thinks it looks like he won't get a chance to fight after all. But suddenly we see Piccolo meditating far away. He opens his eyes and calls out to Goku telepathically. He can tell that Goku is up against someone formidable quite aside from Frieza, and he knows that he would only be a hindrance if he tried to help. Which, I mean, good on him for recognizing that. Goku, struggling to get it together, says that's okay. Piccolo's his escape plan. Broly's losing patience and starts to laugh maniacally, and Goku manages to stand up. If things go south, he can use Piccolo to teleport away from the battlefield, and Piccolo realizes that, for Goku of all people to have an escape plan, things must be really bad. Goku laughs it off and agrees. He then rips off his orange gi and begins to transform into Super Saiyan Blue. And yes, there is a callback to Master Ultra Instinct here as well. There's a split-second moment where Goku's hair becomes white and his eyes and eyebrows turn silver. Yeah, that's an homage to Ultra Instinct. They go at it, and the fight is a little bit closer now. But Goku is still struggling. Broly punches him through the ground where it seems like a fiery magma pit is just beneath the snow. Broly follows Goku into the magma pit and continues to punch him with a flurry of punches there, strangling him among other things. But Goku throws Broly back onto the surface, not before biting his hand, because, that's one of Goku's, last situation moments. He bit Frieza's tail, he bit Whis' hand in an earlier fight during the Universal Survival Saga. Goku has bit pretty much everybody. Because he still has some of that primitive nature in him. Goku throws Broly back above the surface again and follows him up. Upside, Broly charges up a giant cyclonic attack and launches it at Goku. It disturbs their surroundings so much that Frieza has to put up an energy shield around himself, while Paragus goes flying. The attack transforms the landscape around them, releasing the magma below the surface, but Goku is unharmed but turns the battlefield pretty much into a lava pit. Paragus is full of despair, thinking that maybe King Vegeta was right after all. Broly is the harried one now. Goku clearly has the edge. Frieza asks Paragus if this is the end, and Paragus says yes. However, Frieza remembers how his killing of Frieza was the trigger that caused Goku to transform into a Super Saiyan. Pleased with himself, Vegeta executes Paragus to call out to Broly with feigned panic and distress, calling it in his own words a little test. He finally gets Broly's attention and has the exact result that Frieza wants. Broly absolutely explodes in grief and anger as he transforms into a Super Saiyan for the first time. Frieza celebrates as Broly begins to shoot off a flurry of random blasts. Also, that Super Saiyan transformation is an homage to the old one with the many circles of different colors shooting out from Broly's aura, destroying what is left of the landscape all around him. Goku tries to fight back, but he can't even make a dent. Sometime during this assault, he loses his blue shirt. Broly's aura expands and threatens to overcome Goku, but he flies to escape it. Frieza's pleased, but Vegeta recognizes that Goku won't be able to beat Broly alone anymore. He flies up to join Goku, who reluctantly accepts his help. I mean, good on him for realizing that. Vegeta goes Super Saiyan Blue and they attack Broly together. But still not enough. Broly comes right back at them and soon has them on the run. But not before Goku and Vegeta manage to shoot off a Gallic Kamehameha. One of the coolest friggin' things you will ever see. Then Goku and Vegeta fly past Frieza, but Broly bears down on them and Frieza panics. So they pretty much pawn Broly off on Frieza, and Frieza takes the beating while they get to escape. It's as hilarious as it sounds. Goku's little line right before he even says it, he's like, "Have fun, Frieza!" It's hilarious. It is absolutely friggin' hilarious. Broly seems to forget all about Goku and Vegeta and starts fighting Frieza. Goku sees this as a perfect opportunity. He grabs Vegeta by the hand and flies away a distance before teleporting to Piccolo according to his plan. They make a crash landing on Piccolo's spire top and revert to base form. Goku continues to hold Vegeta's hand for a few moments until Vegeta gets angry and pulls away, telling Goku to let go of him and shaking his arm as if to ward off the cooties. Goku tells Piccolo they will catch him up later. Right now they desperately need some senzu beans. Unfortunately, Piccolo doesn't have any, so Goku asks Vegeta if he knows about the fusion technique. Vegeta says yes, he knows about it from Trunks. It's that technique where you merge by dancing like a fool. Goku confirms and demonstrates the poses. Vegeta angrily refuses to do such a thing. I mean, they're doing it They were overdoing the same joke a little bit too much there, but it's fine. Minor complaint. Goku tells them it's only for 30 minutes, and besides they've done it before with the Batara. But since they don't have Batara earrings handy, they have no choice but to use the fusion dance. Vegeta thinks he might be able to survive fusing with Goku again, but those silly poses are another story. Goku corrects his pose technique and says they don't have a choice. The Earth will be destroyed if they don't stop Broly, but Vegeta says that's just the breaks. So Goku uses his trump card. Will Vegeta really be okay with Bulma and Bola dying? Vegeta tells Goku he shouldn't say such embarrassing things, but nevertheless he finally agrees to learn fusion. Pretty much in his own words, don't you dare try to guilt me into this, damn it. Meanwhile on the battlefield, Broly's pounding Frieza. So Frieza decides it's time to break out Golden Frieza and attacks with new confidence. Goku and Piccolo demonstrate the fusion dance to Vegeta, who watches mortified and blushing in embarrassment. Goku insists there's no time they have to try it, and Vegeta walks forward as if being dragged against his will, pretty much saying he'd rather have Broly kill him than do this. They give it a go, but their fingertips don't touch exactly. Piccolo knows it's wrong before the chubby version appears, in other words, Vecchio. When he does appear, he claims to be the strongest, but Piccolo chews him out explaining where they went wrong. They have to wait 30 minutes to defuse. Meanwhile, Golden Frieza is still getting pummeled by Broly. But Goku and Vegeta try again. This time they failed in an emaciated form? I don't know how to say that. The skinny form. That one doesn't have a name, so I'm just going to call it Goka. Goka. I'm just going to call it Goka. Piccolo explains that their pose was not exactly symmetrical. Frieza continues to hold down the fort while they wait another 30 minutes. This time they finally get it right to the Namekian's satisfaction as he gives off his tremendous amount of power. The vest trim is gold, his sash is aqua, and he appears in jet black hair. With time running short, the fused Saiyan recalling that they were called Vegito when they used the Batara, he struggles to come up with a new name for his brand new self, much to Piccolo's irritation. Finally, he declares himself with his new name. Satisfied with himself, he heads off to the battlefield and declares himself as Gogeta. Yes, Gogeta is now canon. This got revealed only a week before the movie came out. Yeah, you can imagine how happy I was seeing that. Because this means that both fusions are now canon, not just Vegito. Vegito and Gogeta are now both official canon. Frieza lies indented in the side of a rock formation, with Broly having gone elsewhere, and in all of Broly's power despite himself. Suddenly, Gogeta appears. Frieza demands to know who he is, and Gogeta explains that he is the fusion of Goku and Vegeta, and that he's much stronger than the two of them added together, and even significantly magnified power on top of that. Gogeta wastes no time teleporting to Broly's new location, having seemingly lost interest in smacking Frieza around. Makes sense. Broly had begun fighting Whis in the absence of Goku and Vegeta, but Whis is merely toiling with the crazed Saiyan while Bulma watches from behind a glowing rock. Whis lazily dodges Broly's attacks until Gogeta appears in front of him. Whis recognizes what he is instantly, but he is surprised to learn that Goku and Vegeta had the ability to fuse without Patara. Bulma's not confused, and figures out they must have used the fusion dance. And let's talk about this part for a minute. If you pay really close attention, the two battle poses that you see Gogeta take when he lands for the first time in front of Whis, and then the second time right before the battle starts, they are Goku and Vegeta's poses from the Saiyan saga. He does Goku's first, and then he does Vegeta's last. Amazing detail if you're paying attention. Broly appears in front of them. Gogeta tells Broly to come fight him and immediately attacks. Here we go. Time for what is probably going to be the greatest animated fight scene of all time. And yes, I will die on this hill. After avoiding a few of Broly's attacks, Gogeta decides he needs to transform, so he goes straight up to Super Saiyan to finally get even. Gogeta fires a Kamehameha and Broly matches it with his own attack. Suddenly, the fabric of reality cracks and shatters like glass. They fight in an odd landscape of colors. Yeah, they literally broke reality because of how hard they were fighting. Broly powers up one more time into his legendary Super Saiyan form and manages to land a few hits on Gogeta, who reasserts his advantage by turning Super Saiyan Blue and pummeling back. They crash through several dimensions, eventually clashing so hard they end up back in reality. On Frieza's ship, Chilai and Lemo can see how this is going to end. They know Broly doesn't want to be like this, but his father forged this battle monster out of a pure and gentle Saiyan, and they have to put an end to it, or Broly will die. They desperately run through the ship with Lemo carrying all 7 Dragon Balls. Broly tries to destroy everything around him with his gigantic roar. That's the name for his mouth blast. But Gogeta charges in and blasts him repeatedly, ending his assault with a powerful Stardust Breaker. Or, if you know its better name, Soul Punisher. Just then, Shenron appears in the sky, saying he will grant one wish. Chilai puts a gun to Kakono's head and demands that he tells her how to get her wish granted. And he tells her that she has to just say it. Like, this played into a great joke from earlier in the movie where Kakono said that it was written down in great detail, and then it's just one sentence. That's a great joke, if you're paying attention. Broly powers up even more and attacks, but Gogeta counters his approach with a flying, slicing kick. Broly attacks with a massive energy blast, but Gogeta dodges the move and sliding alongside it, landing a hard punch to the face. Broly attempts to strike back with a flurry of energy bullets, but Gogeta easily evades his attacks again and easily continues to decimate the Berserker, eventually dealing devastating damage with Meteor Explosion and shocking Broly back into partial sanity. As Whis declares the match as good as finished from here, Gogeta charges and launches a full-force Kamehameha. The coolest Kamehameha in the franchise. Yes, even cooler than when Ultra Instinct Omen Goku used it to grind on Kefla's energy blast. Why? The camera angle. Like, you have him charging up the attack, and then you have the zoom in, you see a little blue glints in his eye, and then it zooms back out, and then the blast fires. Like, amazing. The best Kamehameha we've gotten to date. And Broly can only stare and scream in horror as the life-threatening finisher approaches him. But just at that moment, Chilai asks Shenron to send Broly to the planet where they found him, back to Vampa. Gogeta's Kamehameha shoots off harmlessly into space. Gogeta watches as Broly is whisked away by the power of Shenron. Broly finds himself back home on planet Vampa, terrified and disoriented, and having reverted back to base form, having regained his sanity after getting a meteor shower to the face. Back on Earth, Shenron declares that the wish has been granted and bids them farewell, disappearing as the Dragon Balls scatter. Gogeta laughs and shakes it off. Kakono watches helplessly as Chilai jumps in a gateway vessel Lemo lifted from the mothership. Frieza tries to shoot them down, but Gogeta grabs his hand and says, "Not so fast!" Disgusted, Frieza drops his golden form again and gives up. Though he makes sure to tell Gogeta he'll be back before hightailing it. I will be back for this planet one day. The final phrase that the late great Chris Ayres ever said as Lord Frieza before his sad passing. It was sad to see him go, and it's even more sad that that is his final line. Rest in peace, another world, man. And thank you for everything. Yeah, this video is getting very long, so I don't know if I'll be able to have an actual dedication slide before this review even started. So that's my dedication to him. This is dedicated to him. This is his final performance as Frieza before his passing. So this movie is dedicated to his legacy, his honor, and his memory. May he rest in peace. Gogeta laughs off that too. Back at Bulma's vacation home, Bulma is happily playing with Beerus, though he is ignoring her as she pulls on his ruff. His little collar thing. Beerus is just relieved that everything turned out okay, so he can go back to sleeping. Out in space, Lemo is piloting the stolen ship. Chilai tells him she's sorry she got him involved in the mess, but he doesn't mind. Chilai wants to go find Broly, and Lemo agrees. He thinks he'll be on the run wherever he goes, so being with Broly is probably the safest option for him. They set course for planet Vampa, and Chilai notes that they'll have to round up some food somewhere on the way. 3 days later, with the Frieza Force back in action, with ships pockmarketing around the atmosphere of yet another unfortunate planet that is destined to fall before the massive armada that rains chaos upon it and the dozens of its people, blue-skinned elf-eared creatures desperately clinging and circling around for their safety. Frieza, sitting comfortably back in his floating throne, is confronted by Kakono, who informs him that the outlaws of his army have sympathized with Broly. Setting that aside, the smiling Frieza ponders that Broly can make an invaluable asset if he were to control his temper by letting Chilai and Lemon do the hard work for him, so to get any hope of prevailing against Goku and Vegeta in that battle. Okay, it's not... Okay, that line is not the last one that Chris Ayres says as Frieza, but it's the most fitting one. And it's the last one he actually says in interaction to any of the Z fighters, so... I'm still calling it the last line that he said before his passing, so... Yeah. Once again, dedicated to his honor, his legacy, and his memory. And I know that his sister probably isn't watching this, but if she is, all the prayers and condolences to you and your family for your loss. At Planet Vampa, Broly drags in a huge claw in his cave where a starving Chilai and Lemo awaits. Broly offers them some of the meat and they both try it. Chilai finds its sour taste and better than starving to death. Lemo finds it unbearable and nearly pukes, and berates Chilai for the lack of enough food to sustain themselves. Without notice, Goku instantly appears in front of them and responds to 3 take defensive positions. Makes sense. Careful about the Saiyans' motives for them, but Goku, in an act of kindness, instead offers them an assortment of items that could help them survive the harsh conditions within the cavern. Lifetime supply of foods, a shelter in a capsule, and 2 sensu beans. Still suspicious, they admired the new shelter upon seeing it inside. Goku explains the sensu beans to the group as he hypothesizes that Broly could be stronger than Beerus, the god of destruction he mentions. And then a nice little homage to the original Dragon Ball manga. Whenever you state someone else's name and they're not present, the person, that wherever they are or how far away they are, whenever they hear their name called, they sneeze in reaction. It's a really nice deep cut reference if you're paying attention. Goku then explains to the group that he teleported to Broly's key, as they still do not process what he's even saying. Goku surmises his return so he can engage Broly in another bout, if the group does not wander too far away. Broly seems to like the idea of fighting Goku again. As Goku prepares to return to Earth, Chilai asks for his name. Before disappearing via instant transmission, Goku, having seemingly accepted his Saiyans' heritage completely, in a nice little piece of fan service, replies, "It's Goku. But Broly? Call me Kakarot." And yeah, it's the first time we hear Sean Schemmel actually call himself Kakarot. It's an amazing line to end the movie on. So, that's the story of Dragon Ball Super Broly. It's complex, it's deep, it's long, and it's absolutely just fantastic in pretty much every single way. Like, they took everything, they took the one problem I had with Broly's character and completely fixed it. Now he is a much better character, he's a stronger character, and I personally love his redesign. Like, they went with a different shade of green hair, and I like the different skin tone, and not to mention, he has an actual personality now, so he's not just a raging brute. I mean, he still is, but they give a good reason behind it. Like, they put a lot of time and effort into this movie, and just from reading that story, I'm sure you could have already noticed that. I mean, we're already at over an hour into the review, and that's just the summary, guys. That didn't even go over every single Easter egg. Like, there's so many Easter eggs, nods, and references in this movie to both Dragon Ball and pop culture that it would make your freaking head spin. So, yeah, this is... Obviously, this takes place after the Tournament of Power, so... Alright, now we're just going to go straight down to voice acting, and I'm not really going to go super in-depth with this one. I'm just going to list them off, because this is already a long review, and it can't be longer than an hour and a half, or I can't edit it, so... Here we go. Sean Schemmel's Goku, Christopher Sabat's Vegeta, Vic Mignogna is Broly for the 4th and final time, Christopher Sabat's Piccolo, Kara Edwards is Goten, Alex Tipton's Trunks, Monica Rial is Bulma, Bryn Abril is Bulma, Ian Sinclair's Whis, Jason Douglas is Beerus, Chris Ayres is Frieza in his final film role before he passed away, Damian Clark's Paragus, Damian Clark is back as Paragus, Veronica Taylor is Barry Blue. Yes, that Veronica Taylor. Erica Lindbeck is Chilai. Bruce Carey is Lemo. Sonny Franks is Kikono. Christopher Sabat is Shenron. Sonny Strait's Bardock. Emily Neves is Kine. Christopher Sabat is King Vegeta. Jason Douglas is King Cold. That's a new one. He's not voiced by Jason Douglas in Z. Anthony Bowling is Beats. Phil Parsons is Nappa. Justin Coates is Raditz. Christopher Sabat is Zarbon. Gogeta is obviously Sean Chemo and Christopher Sabat. Marcus Stamak is Taro. Austin Tyndall's Leak. Damon Herons is Morocco. Ray Hurd is Daigen. Sonny Franks is Shito. Terry Doty is Nyan. King Vegeta's Major Domo is Barry Yandel. Rena Palencia is Ba. Chuck Huber is Emperor Pilaf. Colin Klingerbeer is Mai. Chris Kaysen is Shu. I don't know why they're listed. They're not even in the movie. Whatever. And then for the numerous other Saiyan, yeah, this is pretty much all Saiyan and Frieza soldiers. So I'm just going to list off their names. Barry Yandel, David Matranga, John Bellion. Not the John Bellion you're thinking of. It's a different one. Mike McFarlane, Damon Mills, Blaine Hodge, David Matranga, Bryn April, David Matranga, voices a lot of these G's. Sean Gann, Damon Mills, Marcus Stamak, 3 times. Phil Parsons, Bryn April, Phil Parsons, Damon Mills, Sean Gann, Howard Wang, and Warley Pickens. So, yeah, that's the voice cast. Pretty stacked, a pretty good one. Everyone puts in an amazing performance. Like, even the smallest roles do an amazing job. I especially love Gine in this movie specifically. So, yeah, that's definitely the longest summary we've ever read in this marathon. But this is a really in-depth story, so we had to really just go all in on it. Now, without wasting any more time, and because I need a throat lozenge, let's go straight to the written review. And prepare yourselves, this is a very long written review. So, after this will be a final verdict, and see you tomorrow. Here we go. Here's my written review. Like I said, it's pretty friggin' long. Phenomenal animation, outstanding action, amazing story, sharp writing, incredible world building, the best final battle in the entire franchise. Gogeta vs. Broly is just the best fight in all of Dragon Ball, period, and I will fight you on that any day of the week. Loads of references to pop culture, best one probably the homage to Supersonic with Goku's Super Saiyan God transformation, stellar voice acting, especially from Vic Mignogna, returning as Broly for a 4th and final time and giving possibly his best performance of the character out of all of them. And of course, the late great Chris Ayres in his final performance as Frieza. Sharp writing, fantastic new characters, pickups, excellent pacing, an incredible ending with Gogeta finally being official canon, lots of setting variety, a perfect runtime, Broly's character having an actual character with personality and complexity, astronomically high rewatchability, loads of callbacks to the series history, and a lot of funny moments and very high entertainment value. The only flaws with this movie are the textbook definition of nitpicking. The CGI is still present and a tad bit jarring in the Goku vs. Broly fight. The beginning, once again, is pretty slow. After all, it starts with a flashback to Planet Vegeta. And Beerus being in it, while funny, is pretty much just as pointless as Resurrection Ed, but far less harmful to the actual suspense of the fight itself, since he's just in it for a little bit. Also, as amazing as this movie is, and unfortunately has something utterly sickening that will always stain its legacy. I know you probably already heard about this in the news if you watched the news when this came out, but for those who don't, here's a brief explanation. Monica Rial, the voice of Bulma, revealed herself as a Karen and an all-around disgusting and despicable human being and got Vig Mignogna fired from his job just because of a simple, light-hearted joke at a party after the movie's production wrapped up. Which is just awful, for not only because of how amazing of a voice actor he is, but also because of how much of a kind and genuine person he is. Like, he is a genuinely great person. Like, if you look up online his interactions with fans, they'll warm your heart. It's a real smile. And not to mention, he was severely hurt that Monica would even frame him for this. Like, it was a simple, lighthearted joke that was not meant to be taken seriously, and she blew it out of proportion. Because, allow me this one curse word. She's a self-absurd bitch. There, my one curse word of the video. As much as I adore this movie, that painful memory will always haunt my mind every single time that I watch it. Rotten hell, Monica, and I hope one day you are fired for the horrendous things you put Vic through, you pretentious, overreactionary, life-destroying waste of space. And your freaking crappy husband, too. Sorry for being so harsh, and I mean no disrespect to Johnny Young Bosch, a beloved Power Ranger, an incredibly talented voice actor in his own right. I mean, he's the voice of Yusuke from Yu Yu Hakusho. That's one of his many roles. Who replaced Vic in Fighters and Superhero. But this is still one of the worst things I've ever witnessed as a fan of this franchise. Seriously, rotten hell. Rotten hell, Monica. Freaking attention-craving little bitch. Okay, my 2 curses of the video. Even with that said, however, this is still, in my personal opinion, the best Dragon Ball movie of all time and my 3rd favorite movie of all time, period. Even 5 years later, this is still a phenomenal movie that not only brought back a beloved fan favorite and made him official canon, but also completely fixed his character and evolved him. Add on the incredible new art style and some of the greatest fights in the whole franchise, and you have the series at its undeniably greatest peak. It's the 4th highest grossing anime movie of all time for a very good reason. It's a masterpiece of animation and, in my personal opinion, the greatest anime movie ever made. Cannot recommend it highly enough. The best Dragon Ball movie to date, period. Yeah, this is still the best Dragon Ball movie we've got. Like, I love superhero. If you saw my top 20 best list from last year, you would already know that, but nothing is going to top Dragon Ball Super Broly. The effort, the care, the passion, like, again, they didn't have to make an entirely new art style, but they went that extra mile. Not to mention Broly's finally canon, they fixed his character, like, they didn't have to put in all this extra effort, but they went all the way for the fans to try and give us the best Broly movie they could possibly give us, even better than Broly the Legendary Super Saiyan. And they succeeded at that. This is a phenomenal, outstanding movie, and whether you're watching the English dub or the original Japanese version, this is still one of the greatest movies of all time, and I will fight you on this any day of the week. My final verdict for Dragon Ball Super Broly is going to be the highest 11 out of 10 that I can possibly give it. If you, for whatever reason, have still not watched this movie, go watch it right now. Buy the DVD, go watch it on streaming, whatever. Watch this movie now. It is one of the greatest animated movies of all time. One of the greatest animated movies of all time, the best Dragon Ball movie of all time, and undoubtedly, in my pick for the best anime movie of all time. Yes, even over Akira, My Hero Academia, and Demon Slayer. Deal with it. So, yep, that concludes my long, very extended thoughts on Dragon Ball Super Broly. I tried to make this review short, but I didn't realize until I pulled it up how freaking long this summary was. But if you guys stuck with me throughout this whole way, thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoy. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we're over halfway through the marathon now, so yeah. We're getting close to the tail end because we have one more movie, then the updated tier list, and then just the sagas. And then it's onward to October for our next Halloween X. It's pretty crazy. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Jackson of Animation Station. I'll see you guys next time where we finally conclude our long review series of all the Dragon Ball movies, with the exception of the first 4 OG ones because we don't have the time, with a deep dive review of the awesome, phenomenal, underrated Dragon Ball Super superhero. Yes, I know, dumb title, but yeah. I don't want to spend any longer on making this video than I probably already have, so I'm just going to post the intro separately for this one. So, yep, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow for Dragon Ball Super Superhero. Peace.